Now here I am standing in front of a judge pleading for just a little longer so that I can prove to you I can support a little child that doesn't weigh quite 20 pounds.
YouTube, man, we back at it. Man, I feel like I haven't done a shooting video by myself in a minute, man. But I hope everybody is doing good, man. In terms of my situation, man, I can't complain, man. Your boy is back to work, back to the grind. Not gonna lie, it got scary for me for a little bit in terms of just working and making sure everything could be taken care of around the house in terms of bills and all that. But man, by the grace of God, man, back to work, back to doing what I do in terms of trucking, man, so I can't complain. Family doing good, everybody else is doing good. Shout out to my parents. Tomorrow they celebrate their 40th anniversary, and they gonna have a little party and all that. So that's looking forward to that. That's been stressful. Dealing with it, like I love my family to death, man, but dealing with them in terms of planning stuff ain't the easiest. But we've been able to push through and figure it out, so that should be cool. Off with the J. But the biggest reason, oh yeah, and shout out to my guy Walter Cullen. Me and him was able to chill yesterday at Bayshore with the fams. Bayshore got a little like pavilion, I don't know, open space area for kids to like run around and play. So our wives was able to meet each other, and kids was able to play together, man. It was just smooth, man. The weather was actually all right. So it's like when you get older and you want to do stuff with the family, and you want to be able to, have good friends that you can hang out with and kids can make bonds with. So that's the stage of life we at right now. So it was cool to like be able to do that with somebody. So man, shout out to Walter. And what he got going on, what's your motive? Y'all lock in and tap into my bro. But the biggest reason I wanted to do this pod was because a couple weeks ago, Monta Ellis came out and said that he said two things I want to talk about. He said had he not got traded from Golden State, and Steph was the one that got traded. Had you plugged Monta Ellis in with that team that eventually got formed, Monta would have the same rings as Steph. And then he said, in terms of D Wade back in the day, it's no difference between him and D Wade, just the championships. And he kind of got pushed back for that. I'm gonna tell you this, I'm a Monta Ellis fan in terms of his game. He played for the Bucks for like a year and he balled for us. Monta Ellis was a very talented player in the NBA, and he put up numbers too. So I'm a Monta Ellis fan. And when he said that, like, I got it, I got it right away. Do I necessarily agree? No, I'll tell you why. But just in terms of him speaking on what he was capable of, like Monta Ellis at one point averaged, I think, over 24, maybe 25 points a game in the league. Anybody who do that, even if you're on a bad team, you average 25 points a game in the NBA, the best basketball league in the world, against the best competition, and you able to put up 25 a night as an average, you elite. Like, you elite. Can't nobody just show up and do that. I don't care who you are. Yeah, you can. The average guy could probably have a good night of 25, but for that to be your average, you're elite. I don't care. I will argue with anybody like you're elite, at least for that season. Now, if you put a couple of those seasons together, now you really in the conversation. And I think he did. Probably not 25, but he had a couple like 20-point seasons. But my point is, with him and Monta older than Steph, so it was probably times in practice where Monta got the best of Steph. Probably was busting Steph's ass. It was probably times that they did workouts together, and Monta probably was making just as many shots as Steph. So I can understand you looking at somebody you older than. You probably, in all honesty, you probably got just as much talent as. Now, this is where we're gonna go with the conversation. Having talent, having the same amount of talent as somebody isn't the same as having the same skill set as somebody. Let me explain. I could be uber talented, I could be quick, I could pass, I could shoot, I could dunk, I could rebound, I could do all of that. That could be my skill set. Then it could be somebody else. I could be naturally talented at all of that. But then it could be somebody else who literally all their skill set is shooting. That's all they do. They really ain't got the best handle. They're really not that athletic. But they can shoot the basketball at a super high clip. And that's their natural ability. Both players are talented, but they got two totally different skill sets. And I think that's what Monta Ellis and Steph are. Monta Ellis was super explosive, could attack the rim, would dunk on you if he had a step, could get to the mid-range, had a really good mid-range jump shot. He was okay from three. But with Monta game, Monta needed the ball in his hands to really be effective. He needed the ball in his hands. So when you got a player like that who they gotta have the ball in their hands and playing off the ball really ain't, they can do it, but they prefer to have the ball in their hands. When you got a player like that opposed to somebody like Steph, who Steph got a good handle, really good handle. Steph can create, you know what I'm saying? Steph can get to the rim, but Steph's best asset is his jump shot. Steph is at his best when he off the ball. He moving, making people chase him, and getting open looks to shoot. You compare the two. Okay, I'm trying to build a team. And trying to play a style of basketball that's gonna translate to championships. What player do I want? Do I want a player who ball dominant, need the ball every possession, and game really doesn't translate to getting others better? It only really translates to getting buckets for themselves. What player can I build off of? Or do I have a player, you can put him on the ball, you can put him off the ball, but he doesn't need the ball to score. He can come off of action, catch and shoot, and that way still create space for others to touch the ball and get shots. Who can I build off of? And I think that was the ultimate decision for Golden State. And the shooter, who's Steph, he like 4 or 5 years younger. So when I think about what I'm gonna build my franchise on, I'm taking Steph. And you gotta think, Steph already had a name. His dad played in the league. Steph image, you could say, is probably a little cleaner than Monta's image. So I get the decision to roll with Steph. Even though at that time, people was worried about Steph's ankles and just how he would hold up in the league. That was a real conversation. But I think the Warriors front office probably came to the decision that Steph's skill set will translate more to championships than Monta's skill set. They both super talented. It's even probably hard to say who's better than the other. But I think Steph's game is more translatable to a championship culture and a championship just environment. So I think that's why they got rid of Monta. But for Monta to say, in terms of talent and ability, he right there with Steph, I don't think he's lying. Like, I guarantee at that time, you throw them both in the gym and tell them to play ones, best of 5. I would not be surprised if Monta wins. You throw them in a workout and just have them just casually shooting jump shots, I wouldn't be surprised if Monta was right with Steph. So that's what, in terms of talent, that's what I mean. Like, Monta Ellis was a super talented guard in the league for years. Did his thing for a couple teams. But this is game translate into wins. That's why, because Steph's game was the way it was, he could play off the ball, and he didn't need the ball every possession down, and he could be that combo guard. It opened up the door for a playmaker in Draymond Green to be able to get shots for Steph, to be able to be that point forward, you know what I'm saying? Initiate the offense, find Steph off of curls, dribble handoffs, find Clay coming off of action, you know what I'm saying? Being a live threat with Bogut or whoever the center was at the time, McGee, Looney, whomever. But because Steph's game wasn't dictated off of always having the ball, it allowed other players to be able to touch the rock and still be successful. Like, you could put the ball in Steph's hands the whole game, if need be, and he'll get it done. But I would say that's not Steph at his best, just coming down and shooting every time. First of all, you're really not making the defense work. Now, that's one thing, Steph hot, it is what it is, but you're really not making the defense work. You giving that ball up, you coming off of 2 down screens, you coming off of a flare screen, you coming off of curls, back doors, you know what I'm saying? All that action and making a whole defense work opposed to one defender. Yeah, I'm gonna choose Steph. That's what it was with Monta. Monta coming down and he trying to bust your ass. Ball moving for what? I got the rock, bro. I'm quick. I got the handle. You know what I'm saying? I got the mid-range jump shot. I can dunk on you. Bruh, all I need is the ball and get out the way. That's the style of basketball, you know what I'm saying, Monta kind of played. And he was good at it, too. But when you're trying to be great, you're trying to create a dynasty, is it all for one or one for all? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. I think the dynamic was Steph and Monta. Again, like I said, I love Monta, and I got the cherries on today. Because when Monta played in Milwaukee, he used to wear the cherries. But, you know what I'm saying, that's a lesson to be learned though. Like, You can be super talented, but if your particular skill set doesn't allow people to work with you and be a part of a team, certain people not gonna want to deal with you over time, because you're gonna just be looked at as you all about yourself. You're not about team. But if you got a certain skill set that can include others in what you got going on, and you can be a part of a team setting, man, people gonna love you to death. Because when you eat, they eat. When you do what you do at a high level, it allows them to do what they do at a high level, and so on and so on. And I think that's where Monta and other NBA players missed the mark. Yeah, you could get buckets, but who you getting better? You know what I'm saying? Who's benefiting from your scoring? Is it just you, or the whole team is? Like if you got with Steph hitting threes, Steph in his rhythm, bro, that opens up the floor for everybody. Okay, now Steph done hit 4 or 5. Now we gonna double Steph off his actions. Okay, you got a good playmaker like Dre, now I'm gonna get Clay involved. Now I'm gonna get Wiggins involved when he was there. Or I'm gonna start looking for my shot because they trying to key in on Steph. And that's what it is. Because Steph don't need the ball every time down, it allows opportunities for other players. And the Warriors team was realistic about that. Nobody fought about their roles. Everybody accepted their role, which was a reason they was as good as they were, for the most part. I would say the downfall of that team came when people started to not accept their role, especially when KD got there. And you got the friction between Dre and KD. That's a conversation for another day. But for the most part, that team bought into each other's skill sets, trusted each other, and they won. And I think that's a good lesson for life, man. Don't get me wrong, don't hide your talent. Embrace who you are. But at the same time, try to have what you're good at translate to a team aspect and trying to get to winning as a team. If you're just about yourself, in my opinion, you're only gonna go so far. And I feel like today, in order to really be successful, whether it's business, family, any of that stuff, man, you gotta be able to work with others at the end of the day. And not just, give me the rock, get out the way. That mentality is only gonna get you so far. And I can tell you what, that's not the mentality I want. I could even go back to my little high school career on a way smaller level. Like my junior year, when I came back my junior year, I was bigger, I was more athletic. I felt like I was more polished as a player. And if you talk to some of my teammates, Jarrell Harris, Kwame Mitchell, if I made a statement right now saying I could shoot the ball better than them behind closed doors, I ain't gonna say them dudes would agree, but they not gonna say it's crazy because they knew I could shoot. But at the same time, for our team to be successful, those dudes had to have the ball in their hand. They just had to. They was our playmakers, and they was 2 of our best scorers. I could make a case and throw a fit and say, I should have got more touches. Had I got more plays for me ran my junior year, I could have averaged around 15 to 18 points. Behind closed doors, if you talk to them dudes and they heard a statement like that, they probably wouldn't disagree. They'd probably be like, yeah, that's probably true, but how would that have turned into wins for us? So you gonna take the ball out of our hands for Mark? Yeah, he can't shoot, he can score, but we need the ball in our hands to win. And I would say they 1,000% right. So in that situation, I had to know, bro, you probably gonna have to sacrifice some shots per game and sacrifice doing certain things, because what you want to do ain't gonna translate to wins for the team. Yeah, individually your stat line will be better, but because you want a bigger stat line, that's gonna hurt the team and what we got going on. So do the things we need you to do. You still gonna get shots. You still gonna, you know what I'm saying, be active in the offense. But when you come in the game, we don't need your mindset to get 20 every night. Because you getting 20 every night is gonna take away from our best players. So that was the mindset. Now my senior year, when Kwame was gone, and with the scoring load I was looking to score more then, okay, cool. Now I got my opportunity. But my junior year, I had to wait and do the things that was necessary to help us win, not be so caught up in my own little stat line. But it's the same situation, man. In life, sometimes you're gonna have to sacrifice. You might even have to take the back seat for the greater good of winning. And had Monta Ellis, as we go back to him, had Monta Ellis had that mindset, who knows what bro career could have been, because he already had an awesome career. But maybe it is a few championships under his resume. You know what I'm saying? If he changed his game or sacrificed his game. Or I don't know, who knows? Maybe Monta found a system. He could have found a system that you know, needed him to do that. But still, in the NBA, it's about winning, bro. And I don't know what system he could have played in where he could have had the ball in his hands majority of the time, and that would have resulted in a championship. I don't know. And then just what he said about D-Wade, like, behind closed doors, D-Wade ain't gonna agree with that, but D-Wade ain't gonna look at Monta crazy because he know how good of a player Monta is. I guarantee you, at Monta peak, you play D-Wade in 5 games of ones, I guarantee Monta probably went 2. Monta was that good. So again, shout out to bro. Shout out to his career, man. Monta was one of them ones, man, back in the day when he played. But that's all I got. I want to get some more shots up, man. I ain't shot the ball inside in a minute, so I'm over here trying to shake the dust off, man. Y'all stay smooth. Enjoy the weekend. And I'll talk to y'all when I talk to y'all. We out.
Now here I am standing in front of a judge pleading for just a little longer so that I can prove to you I can support a little child that doesn't weigh quite 20 pounds.